Okay, well, hello. I'm going to be a time Nazi today, welcome to CIMMs' 9th annual cross-platform video measurement and data conference. I'm Jane Clarke. For anyone who doesn't know me, I'm the CEO and Managing Director of CIMM, the Coalition for Innovative Media Measurement. So you're in the right place. We are a subsidiary now of the ARF's, the nonprofit Advertising Research Foundation, the ARF. And we'd like to also very much thank Google for providing us with this great location here for our summit this year. And also, I do have a few housekeeping details here, is that the restrooms are ladies down that corridor, men's down that corridor. Please put your phones on silent or mute or turn them off if you can manage to live without them for a few minutes. And if by any chance you do need to leave this event, they don't really want you wandering around all the Google floors. I think you figured that out on your way in here. So that exit sign here where you came in by the men's bathroom, if you need to leave, that's where you go, and a Googler can take you wherever you need to go. So just don't sort of go out wandering around on all the floors. So let's get started here. This is what I'm doing here, welcoming. While we changed our ownership last year, I think most of you know that our mission hasn't really changed. We're still an R&D coalition in the entire cross-platform video ecosystem, working to innovate in methods to compare and measure cross-platform audiences, and also bringing more granular measurement into TV, both for planning, buying, and attribution, and to fit into these cross-media measurement models. Additionally, as all these kind of new measurement and trading platforms are emerging for cross-platform video, we're very supportive of anything we can do to bring progress in that area as well. What happened when we joined the ARF is we were able to cut our rates in half and open the membership to a much broader group, other than our prior membership had only been media companies, media buying agencies, and large advertisers. So now, in the last year, we've been bringing in a lot more players across the whole cross-platform video ecosystem. Particularly many companies in the new kind of TV data ecosystem are finding that CIMM is a great community to work to share best practices, to kind of establish more industry confidence in new forms of measurement. And so this, it was a great year for CIMM. We've actually doubled our membership, and we're still growing. And the more support that we have, then the more initiatives that we can work on. So tell all your friends. And we'd also like to very much thank our Brand Marketer Advisory Council, some of whose members are here today. This is a group that is just making sure that we kind of stay in touch with the needs of marketers, along with other things that we do also. But it's kind of a special group that talks to the steering committee and then comes to our events. And we welcome any other marketers too who would like to join this. Now, this has been CIMM's kind of vision and roadmap, and we created this in the very beginning, actually. I don't know if Patty Wakeling is here. I always give her credit for this from Unilever. When she was there. And, we've really kept the same vision over the last 10 years, that when you change to cross-media measurement, you have to change your planning tools, your exposure measurement tools, and how you evaluate. And then additionally, as new platforms are emerging to do this in real time, to optimize, to measure, to activate, to do attribution. This is kind of the way this is all going to develop and potentially grow into more of a cross-platform way of doing this. And we've outlined a lot of this actually in the CIMM did a measurement manifesto about 5 years ago that's in your packet. And we update it every year. But this whole kind of new vision, of getting to these platforms and these ways to connect data, you're going to hear a lot more about that today, how to really get to deduplicated reach across platforms. So, while some progress has been made against, these objectives, the goalposts are constantly changing, with new technology, new consumer behaviors. I mean, for instance, all the new ways just that are coming up, emerging just now, the pilot test to deliver dynamically inserted ads into both set-top boxes and smart TVs. This has the potential to break kind of traditional national TV measurement. And, panels can't really handle this separation of the non-addressable spot from the addressable spot. So it's kind of finally forcing this move more to a digital way of looking at things. And this is all, particularly due to, the growth of TV data, which you're going to hear a lot more about today. And what we like to do every year at the summit is to give this kind of industry progress report. Obviously, we can't take credit for a lot of this. Is throughout the whole ecosystem, people are pushing initiatives forward, which is helping because, any one company can't do all this. And so what we actually used to do every year was we would create a chart where we would just compare ComScore and Nielsen on all these aspects of their services. And there's so much going on in the space this year that we didn't even do that. Due particularly to the continued growth and quality in the use of smart TV and set-top box data, particularly for TV attribution, which you're going to hear a lot more about today, but increasingly in new measurement solutions, that are being launched today. 605 launched a new measurement platform incorporating smart TV data and set-top box data for local and for national, although maybe the national's first and the local second. You can talk to them about that. But we're hearing about a lot of really innovative new ways of putting all this together. We also saw in the last year that the MRC, released their cross-media ad impression standard and gave more guidance on reporting duration or potentially duration weighting, which is a little more controversial. And of note, this standard recommends second base measurement, for ads across all platforms, including TV. This isn't possible now in most markets, but it's increasingly becoming available with new forms of data and this dynamic, ad insertion capability and addressability. And also of great importance this year, which you're going to hear a lot about, is that marketers have really stepped up, their game this year. They've really become a lot more involved in cross-media measurement, particularly through an initiative at the WFA, the World Federation of Advertisers. And they're going to actually be publishing a measurement manifesto very soon, and there's a draft of it in your packet. And I attended a meeting last week in Paris with some of the people that you'll hear from today also, in which they discussed a lot of the objectives of doing this, and you're going to hear a lot more about that today. Additionally, content measurement has actually become a bit more challenging because now a lot of the content companies, have their own apps and may even, becoming more walled gardens. So, that's kind of a new challenge that's emerging. And also, I'm really pleased today to announce a new initiative with a consortium of companies that we're calling the Advertising Metadata Standardization Initiative, or AMSI for, you got to have an acronym. But what it's about is to not only standardize the names for ads for using Ad ID, if Harold Geller is around here, which CIMM's been supporting for a long time, particularly through our taxi initiative, where you can actually embed an Ad ID into a watermark and then be able to read it anywhere. But this is also to extend that standardization into the the formats, the data formats for ads, and the metadata, the way the metadata is used to describe the ads. And it sounds like a really simple, basic thing, but particularly, this actually emerged. We have Vijoy Gopalakrishnan here from IRI, back over there, and there's a little release about it in your packet, and his email is in there too. That currently when you go to do ROI and attribution and media mix modeling type analyses, when you're pulling all your ads in across all the different partners and platforms and DSPs, they all come in in different time zones and different formats and different names. You spend all this time just reconciling and cleaning your data. And so if we could just, as an ecosystem, clean up that, it would then enable everybody to spend a lot more time on, doing the real analytic work. So anyway, we're launching this with IRI, Kantar, AdID, ARF, ANA, Forays, and CIMM, and we welcome more partners. We're just going to try to kick it off with a meeting later in February. Additionally, one other thing here is that the data label was launched by the IAB Tech Lab, which is a great way to get more transparency into third-party data sets, that are used in audience segmentation and identity linking. However, the sort of death of the cookie, which is the big topic of conversation of late, is really going to mandate a lot of new, innovative, ID solutions that I think we'll all be hearing a lot more about going forward. So this WFA meeting, I'll quickly just mention this because Belinda is going to talk next, after the panel, and then Belinda. She's going to give you an overview of this a lot more. There's kind of 4 areas that they're working on, 4 committees. And so you'll hear a lot more about that. I won't really go into that right now. And for our part, CIMM, we have these 3 committees that we're working on. Attribution ROI, you'll hear a lot about a study today that we've just launched. And we have a whole bunch of other projects that are sort of gestating in some of our other committees. And we're welcoming, at this time of year, a lot of input into that. So CIMM members who are on these committees, will be having calls to talk about a lot of this stuff soon. This is my favorite slide. I always have to give credit to, I think it's Universal, that the industry is kind of likened to switching from one fast-moving car to the next, like you're in the Fast and Furious movie. We're still doing business the old way, but we're trying to kind of start to do it the new way. And so, CIMM's all about kind of working on that transition together. So last slide here is there's a bunch of stuff in your packet. You have the agenda, you have bios. There's a report that Gerard Broussard from Premeditated Media wrote based on a summary of a workshop we held last summer on addressable TV and kind of implications for the future of TV measurement. There's also these 2 releases from our TV attribution study and this AMC initiative. And there's a couple of measurement manifestos that you can read through.